Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'll call this public hearing to order. I have a brief announcement to read out. The meeting is being convened in order to hold public hearings on land use matters. Anyone who believes their interest in property is affected by the items may speak or present written submissions. Everyone will be given a reasonable opportunity to be heard. No one should feel discouraged from making their views known. Those of you who wish to speak or have registered with the city clerk should, after being recognized by the chair, begin by clearly stating your name and your address. If you have provided written submissions, please make this known at the beginning. All written submissions will be retained by the city clerk and form part of the record of the hearing. Each speaker may address the hearing a maximum of twice. The length of your first presentation will be limited to a maximum. Are we okay there? A maximum of 10 minutes. Your comments must be relevant and not obstruct the hearing. Any additional presentation, which must be on new information, will be limited to 3 minutes. Members of council may ask questions of you following your presentation, but the function of council members during a public hearing is to listen to the views of the public, not to debate the merits of matters with citizens. Any debate by members of council will occur at the subsequent vote. So generally the proceedings are, firstly, the city clerk will briefly describe the matter. Then the applicant or their agent will be invited to make a brief presentation. And the city clerk will identify any written submissions received, and oral submissions from the public will be heard, and further written submissions will be received. Finally, the hearing will be closed and matters may be considered. Please note that delegations must present in a respectful manner without interference or comments from the audience. City Council is committed to ensuring a safe and respectful environment and supports the rights of the community to bring comments forward. Please observe these rules. If you have any concerns with the manner in which the hearing is conducted, direct your comments to the chair. So, Mr. Clerk, first item. Mr. Clerk, first item.
Thank you, Worship. First item is zoning bylaw 8500, amendment bylaw 10567, ZT 2403. 5934, and the location is 12800 and 12910 number 2 road. The applicant is Kush Panache, and the purpose is for zoning text amendment to permit the development of an 81-meter square greenhouse with concrete footings. The greenhouse will be used to grow produce, will not use any bright hydroponic lighting, and the flooring will be soil-based. First reading was June 24th, 2024.
So is the applicant are you going to make a presentation or just await questions?
I'll just await questions.
All right. Any written submissions?
None, Your Worship.
Anybody wanting to speak to this item on the agenda here, come forward then. And then we'll go to you next. Okay, please have a seat, introduce yourself, and tell us what's in your mind.
Hi, my name is Barb Carlisle, and I live directly across the street from the property. I live at 12633 number 2 road. And I would just like to know what future plans are for this piece of land with this zoning change, as a greenhouse can be erected on a property without putting the cement footings in. So I'm just curious, and I'd like to know, right now they're also holding wedding events. So I'm wondering, is there going to be structures built for these wedding events as well? Because does this open the door for more structures being built?
Staff can comment on that, but it would appear that simply there's the development of a greenhouse, 81 square meter greenhouse with concrete footings. So it will be used to grow produce, no bright hydroponic lighting, and flooring will be soil-based. That's the extent of it. There's nothing more than that. If you have, and I'll ask staff to confirm that, but...
Can I ask where it will be located on the property?
I'll ask staff to address that. Okay.
Yes.
Go ahead. You're on. No, you were on. You are on.
Apologies.
Go ahead.
Through your worship. Yes, the actual greenhouse will be located, I'll just get the exact setbacks here. It will be 100 meters from the front property line on number 2 road, so about 300 feet back from number 2 road, and 57 meters from the north property line and 258 meters from the south property line, so well back from the road.
Can I ask, will there be fans installed that will be running 24 hours a day, as we have experienced in the past that there's been fans on a structure that exists on the property right now?
Okay. Ask, what other questions do you have, then we'll excuse you.
Okay, that's it.
That's it. We'll excuse you. Thank you very much. Okay, what regulations do we have in terms of the internal workings of this greenhouse?
Yes, through your worship, there is a fan included in the structural drawings for the greenhouse. I've been advised by building staff that it will need to, and through the building permit review, will need to require with the city's, or sorry, comply with the city's noise bylaw, noise control bylaw.
All right. All right, there was somebody wanting to speak to us. Come forward, please. So you know the drill. Have a seat. Introduce yourself and tell us what's on your mind.
Hello, my name is Marjorie Ross. I live at 12633 Number 2 Road at Nautica North. My unit also faces Number 2 Road, and on behalf of a few residents that also face, it's about the fans. Last year, I did inquire and speaking to Daniel, and he did say it was from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. to 5 a.m., and that was true at the time, but they are pretty loud. I would have been happily and suggested maybe 11 p.m. till 6 a.m. when people are starting to get up, because at 5 a.m. you do hear them. Just in the last couple of weeks, I did hear the fans running at 10:30 p.m., and I sometimes do get up before 5 by accident, and they were running. I tried to video the 4:30 a.m., but the birds were tweeting, so it wouldn't have made any difference to send that video in. I don't mind that the fans are running if it's for produce, but it's just for us that are sleeping across the street, because it is a very residential. There's a villas and Nautica south and north that face that land. So that is my point. One of the points. There's another point, but it's the decimal sound and the sleeping, because we are residential. Am I allowed any more, or that's the only point?
Yeah,
right
go
now?
ahead.
There's also our view. Now, Athletic Gardens is a beautiful, I want to say a beautiful farm. It's like Tuscany to me, so I appreciate everything
No,
that the
speak
owners
to
have put
us.
in. So I'm just thinking our view, the trees, the city paid for the trees, I believe, along the pathway. I could be wrong, but they kind of need to be trimmed, because it's taking away our sunlight into our suites. And I'm told that that's a possibility, but I'm not sure if that's possible.
Yeah,
So they're just growing and growing and growing, and we have trees that are on the boulevard too, that are blocking the daylight. So
Okay,
I think that's my 2 points of my call.
all right. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
I'll ask staff, those trees, that they were put on by the owner, were they not?
Through your worship, that's correct.
Okay, so those are the owner's trees, not ours. My suggestion is, there's the owner right there. You should have a discussion with him and see what could be done about the trimming of those trees. Now, in terms of the fans and the noise and the use of the fans outside hours, would these people get a hold of bylaws when that happens?
Yes, through your worship, they could reach out to bylaws if they had a concern about the noise.
Okay, so check with the bylaw staff, and if you don't know how to get a hold of them, I don't think this hearing is going to go too much longer, so you could speak to staff and get some phone numbers, some contact information, okay? Anyone else wanting to speak to us on this item on the agenda? Yes. So if the applicant can come forward, there's a question, a quick question.
Thanks. I'm just curious, what area of the farm are the fans running in now, and is that going to change once the greenhouse is in place and the fans will be in the greenhouse and not in wherever they are now?
I'm happy to clarify that. The greenhouse, the fans in questions are not in the greenhouse. The greenhouse will be well set back. I think the fans that are being referred to are the sort of the amenity building that's used for storage of produce. That's a working area where people work out of. And those fans unfortunately do have to run because it does get too hot. It does damage the produce and the processing area, and it's very uncomfortable on days like this for people to be working in them. So that's the reason the fans are running. And the fans, as far as I know, do meet all the necessary code requirements. And believe me, we don't run them unnecessarily. They're on timers and they're temperature sensitive. That's the only reason they come on.
What are the hours that you're allowed to run the fans? Or not
As far as
allowed
I
to
know,
run?
there are no limitations on that. I think the fans can run at any time. Because like I said, they're just like an air condition, not an air conditioning unit, but just like a fan to circulate the air in the building.
Okay, so for the people who are concerned about the fans and the running of the fans, you should be checking with our staff who can either right now or in the near future give you any rules and regulations around that. So,
Yeah, and we're very happy to try to accommodate that. It's not our desire to try to create unnecessary noise for anyone. If the fans don't have to run at night, believe me, they're on timers and they can be shut off if the temperature is reasonable.
all right. Councillor Day, you have a quick question?
Yeah, I was just wondering about timers for the fans, like potentially say, well, especially run them for a period of time, an hour, for example, with maybe a half an hour break, just so it's not continuous. Is that possible?
I think that's how they're set up right now. I
Okay.
think they do come on and off. They're on automatic timers. But I think what we can do is try to ensure that maybe we'll put limiters on them, so maybe between certain hours, if they don't have to come on, they won't come on. That's really.
Just a minute. Councillor Galanders, you've got a further question? Go ahead.
What,
Your mic is on.
oh, my mic just went on? Oh, shoot. Sorry. I just had a follow-up question that somebody mentioned, one of the speakers mentioned events, and I understand on ALR you're allowed a certain number of events per year. So what is that again, and how many people?
I believe it depends on permit. You can apply for individual permits depending on the number of events you're having and the size of the events, and that is controlled through the ALR regulations.
Yeah,
It's our intention to comply with that.
thank you.
Councillor Day.
Yeah, it was kind of the same question I was going to ask. One of the speakers said that there was a wedding on the property. Is that something that you could see doing often, or was that a rare occurrence?
No, there was a wedding at the property last week. I believe there were 35 to 40 people in attendance.
Yeah.
And that was done with the appropriate permits and everything that's necessary.
So this isn't the reason you're building the greenhouse is to host weddings? It was just an offshoot of that, or?
The event was actually held outside.
Yeah.
It was held in front of the greenhouses, like in that general area that's grasses.
Okay.
But it's landscaped right now.
All right,
All
thank you.
right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So I'll ask for council consideration. Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? That is carried. And next item, Mr. Clerk, Madam, sir.
Thank you, Your Worship. Item number 2 is Official Community Plan Bylaw 9000, Amendment Bylaw 10579. Location is citywide. The applicant is the City of Richmond, and the purpose is to clarify conditions when a developer permit is required for small-scale multi-unit housing development and applicable design guidelines. First reading was June 24, 2024.
All right, I'll turn to staff. I'll just ask for a brief explanation of why this is on the agenda.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's on.
Thank you, Your Worship. The purpose of this bylaw is to establish a development permit requirement for development within the RSM zone. That is the zone that was adopted by Council on June 24th in accordance with the provincial housing regulations. This bylaw will establish the development permit requirement for any multiplex on an irregular shaped lot or for any detached accessory dwelling unit located in the rear yard.
All right. Have there been any written submissions? Is anybody wanting to speak to us on this item on the agenda? All right.
Move second and third on bylaw 9000, 10579.
Okay, moved and seconded. We have a question or comment from Councillor Day.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to ask a question of staff. So on page PH 56, it has a picture of what the provincial guidelines are, which would allow for 13.7 meter high houses. But our bylaws, I just want to confirm, do not allow that. Is that correct?
Through Your Worship to Councillor Day, that is correct.
Thank you. That'll make everyone's mind go at ease. Thank you.
Councillor Wolf.
Thank you. Yeah, just looking at, it's in our package on PH 70, it's the extract from the regular council meeting where this item received first reading. And in there, the first item was the Richmond OCP amendment bylaw, which is before us today. And I'm just stating that I opposed at the council meeting the whole item, which was the response to the housing bill, which includes what's before us tonight. I don't necessarily oppose this, but really this is the only part that's moved to this process. What I was opposed and remain opposed to is the change that council made to allow for 100% stratification of the multi-unit housings, or housing. But with that said, I will be opposed to this item.
All right. Okay, so I'll call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried with Councillor Wolf opposed, and the adoption? Second. Moved and seconded. Discussion, all those in favor? Any opposed? That is carried with Councillor Wolf opposed, and we're now adjourned.